the breath is such an effective tool for really changing your physiology. So if we want to calm down, we're going to breathe a certain way. If we want to energize, we're going to breathe a certain way. If we want to become more coherent between our brain and our heart and just sort of synchronize everything and get us really focused and really in that neutral, beautiful, heart-centered space, there's a breath for that. And really, there's a breath for everything. They said there's probably over 108 breaths practices in yoga. And I don't know that many, and I'm not going to try to teach you that many. But let's go ahead and start with the basic breath in yoga, which would be inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And start just by noticing where that breath is going. You might notice you feel it up here in the chest. You might feel it in your diaphragm area, your rib cage. And some people who are deeper breathers might feel it all the way down into their belly, in and out through their belly, even though you're not actually breathing in and out through your belly. If you were, you'd have a punctured lung. But the point is your diaphragm, if you're activating it, which is your breathing muscle, could push some of your organs around. All right, so let's focus our breath. We'll start by focusing our breath on our chest area. And this is heart-focused breathing. And this is a great way to get centered, a great way to get your brain and your heart just synchronizing and get these really lovely, happy hormones going. You can either place your hand on the heart, or you can just put them on your lap. And if you could, I'd like for you to slow your breath down, possibly to the count of 5, unless that is a strain. 2, 3, 4, 5 on the inhale, and then just slowly exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5 on the exhale. Again, this is coming in and out of your chest, your heart center. Just notice any changes in your nervous system as you do this beautiful heart-focused breathing. The heart-focused breathing actually affects your heart rate variability, which is wonderful for allowing you to go from agitation back to calmness, back to excitement whenever you need to. So it's a really good regulating breath. So this is something you could practice anytime, anywhere. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to put your hand on your heart, so you can be stuck in traffic and just do it then. So let's start moving with some breath. So in general, we inhale when we reach up. We exhale when we come down to our body. So inhale, reaching up, and you can even stretch your front body. Exhale when we come down to our body. Inhale when we reach up. Exhale when we come down. Now we're going to add on to this. So now we're going to inhale when we reach up. Now you're going to draw your navel in. Exhale when you twist off to the side. Inhale when you reach back to the middle. Exhale when you twist to the side. Inhale back to the middle and exhale, release. So in this case, the inhale initiates the movement, but the exhale is to keep your spine safe when you're doing like a twist, because a twist could be kind of tricky for your spine. So when you exhale, you pull your belly in. And by pulling your belly in, you're protecting your spine when you twist. The other way we used exhale in that move was to just relax. So exhale has 2 purposes. Exhale can be used to relax, to let something down and go, or to engage the belly as you're doing a movement that could get the spine out of order. So we do use the exhale in a couple of different ways. Now, the other thing we can do, go ahead and straighten your legs out and let's, move them around and do some. Otherwise, you could end up just getting stiff. And go ahead and circle your feet around, circle them around. You can even tap your legs out, giving a little bit of tapping. So sometimes the inhale and the exhale just make perfect sense. So let's come on to hands and knees when we're doing cat-cow. In that case, it really does make perfect sense if you think about it. You inhale when you're stretching forward. Now, the one nuance to this is when I want you to inhale for this, I'd like for you to divide it into 3 parts and go like this. Inhale, fill the chest. Inhale, fill the ribs. Inhale, fill the belly. And then the opposite when you exhale. So we exhale on this part of the cat-cow. Exhale, pull the belly in. Exhale, cave the ribs. Exhale with the chest, lower the head. So this is a 3-part inhale and exhale. So again, inhale, chest, ribs, belly. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. Try it again. Inhale, chest, ribs, belly. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. Now try to do that smoothly if you can. So you're inhaling from the top when you go like this. You're exhaling from the bottom when you go like that. And again, this makes sense with the movement. Exhaling from the bottom. All right, so let's go ahead and push back to child's pose. Now, in a child's pose, you might be doing a completely different breath because this is a breath where your belly is a little compressed. So here I am in child's pose. My belly's kind of being squished a little bit. So I'm going to have to breathe sort of horizontally instead of vertically. So as you're laying here, I want you to imagine every time you inhale that you're like an accordion and you're expanding your rib cages out sideways. And every time you exhale, the accordion is releasing. You could also think of a clamshell if that helps. So the clamshell is opening on the inhale. Feel your rib cage, especially in your back body, expanding sideways. And you might also feel some, expansion below, but I want you to focus on that rib cage expanding and then release the rib cage. So you're almost lifting a little bit when you inhale. So you'll feel a little bit of a lift. Lifting on the inhale, the rib cage is expanding, the upper body sort of lifts. And then the exhale, everything is coming back together and there's a little bit of a lowering. Lift on the inhale as you expand the rib cage. Lower, release on the exhale as everything comes back together. So you can almost feel like you're knitting things back together on the exhale. All right, so let's come on to our belly. So there's a movement here, the locust pose, where we're gonna lift our body up and then come back down. So completely on your belly. And you can place your hands by your sides. So I don't want your elbows sticking out like chicken wings. If they're gonna be like anything, be a turkey that you're drawing those wings in. You've used your thread and you've got them all trussed. All right. So on this one, it makes sense again because we're doing the effort when we go up. So we're going to inhale when we come up. And then we're going to exhale as we lower down. And you could turn a cheek to the ground as you go down. You're going to inhale on the effort as you go up. And you're going to exhale as your other cheek comes down. So a lot of the breath just makes sense with the movement, but some of them you can control in a different way that maybe doesn't make sense. Like you can play around with it. All right. So we're going to come up to standing next, and I'm going to show you the proper breath, or at least the preferred breath in doing a balance, because a balance does require, again, that engagement of the core. So you got to pull the belly in. And so you're thinking, well, am I going to hold the breath the whole time I'm balancing? And there's a tendency for people to do that because it's like, okay, I got to hold everything in. But you have to breathe, right? So let's try a simple tree pose. And again, you could put your foot on your ankle. You could put your foot here. So the first thing that I'm doing, and this is back to last week's lesson, is I'm taking root. And then you got to take root in your core. So I have to actually pull in from my belly button down to my pubic bone. But I want to be able to breathe. So in this case, I want to breathe above my belly button. So you should feel this kind of So you should feel your rib cage expand. So again, this is a great time to use rib cage expansion breathing because you want to maintain the integrity of your spine by holding everything in here, but you still want to be able to breathe. All right, let's go ahead and try the other side. This is a little more complicated when you're doing a balance. A lot of us hold our breath during balances. So this is, you hold, it's like you're wearing a girdle or a tight pair of jeans, but you're still breathing above them. So think about that. All right, so get yourself set up, and then maybe start with your hands on your rib cage. Hold that lower belly in. Breathe above it. Nice. And then go ahead and release and shake things out. Whew. Okay, so in some moves that are really, really, strong moves that require a lot of energy, like we could get into our warrior two. So start wide-legged. Remember how we got into our warrior two. Then go ahead and take your right toes and point it to the narrow end of your mat. Your left toes slightly turned in. We're bending this knee, making sure not to bend past the ankle. So if you have to widen the pose. So this is a very strong pose. And there's a breath practice that is really helpful for these strong poses to keep you from tensing up. And it is called Ujjayi breath or regulated breath. So let's say we're in this pose. I want you to make a sound like, do you hear that sound in the back of my throat? That's why it's called Darth Vader. Now, obviously, I'm over-exaggerating this, but what I've done is I've constricted the back of my throat. And I've turned my throat like into a straw so that the breath is coming in like you're sipping in through a straw and letting it out that way. This is a very regulated breath. And now you can see it sounds a little bit like an ocean. You could come over. You could lean back. So if you want to do a very measured, regulated breath as you're doing some strong asanas that really require effort, you would do that. Let's go ahead and do the other side. We always need to be even. So now go ahead and point your left toes towards your skinny end of your mat. Your right toes are turned in. Bend. Make sure your knee is not going past the ankle. So if you have to widen this pose, widen it. Arms up, and see if you can make that ocean or Darth Vader sound. Nice. All right. So now my favorite breath is like the chill out breath. This is the one, it's also called a cleansing breath. You're going to breathe in through your nose, and then you're going to open up your mouth and make a sound, a sigh, a hiss, or any kind of sound. This is a relaxing breath. It's a letting go breath. I usually love to do this with a wide-legged pose. So it'd be something like this. In through the nose. Release. So what do you think so far? Lots of breath, lots of ways to use the breath in our practice. So we'll do a few lying down poses and see how you can use the breath in that. So the first lying down pose we'll do is bridge pose. And I'm not sure if I've taught you bridge pose yet, but in bridge pose, your feet are on the floor, your knees are bent, and you don't have to have your feet super close. If you do have your feet super close to your butt, it's going to be a little more compression in the back of your spine, but it does open up your front body. So this is like a perfect move to coordinate a breath in a bunch of different ways, and we're going to try it in a couple of different ways. So the first one we'll try is we're going to inhale when we go up and exhale when we come down, and see if you can do that in 3 parts again. Back to the inhale, chest, ribs, belly, exhale, belly, ribs, chest. As I go down, inhale, chest, ribs, belly, exhale, belly, ribs, chest. All right, now to confuse us, let's try the exact opposite way. Let's inhale and fill up our belly first. So ready? Inhale, fill up the belly. Then rise up as you fill up the ribs. And rise up as you fill up the chest. And then we're going to let the air out from the top this time. Chest, ribs, belly, come down. So you see we did the exact opposite. Now we're inhaling from bottom up. Belly first, then the ribs, then the chest as you rise up. Coming down, chest, ribs, belly. So in my sense, this breath makes more sense for the rising up and down, but you have to see what your body prefers. So don't try to control it this time, and just see which way your body prefers to do it. One more time. Let's draw our knees into the chest. But I think the interesting part there is you can always use your breath as an inquiry, your breath as a way of exploring how a move feels one way versus another. And sometimes it's nice not to put too much focus on the breath if you're doing a complicated move, but to notice, what is my breath doing when I do that? It's really interesting. All right, so go ahead and raise your legs up to the sky for a minute and just release tension. So when we're on our backs and we're doing something that might affect our our spine. So you see that we want to keep our spine safe. So for instance, let's say I want to twist side to side. So I have my arms out, my palms are facing forward. This one, you'd want to exhale when your legs go off to the side. So let me show you. Inhale first, exhale, pull that lower belly in, then let the legs go to the side to keep the back safe. Inhale, back to the middle. Exhale, pull that belly in to keep that low spine safe. Inhale, back to the middle. Same thing again. So in this case, it's super important because you're moving your spine in a way that could hurt you if you did not keep your core engaged. All right, so let's this is one of my favorite calm moves, and this is another like exploring kind of breath thing. So you might either put your arms by your side, bent, and so now they're bent. I look like a goalie. My arms are up like that. And now my knees are bent, but my feet are wider than my knees. So this is one of those moves where you could explore, how do I want to breathe? Like, do I want to inhale to one side and then exhale to the other? That might be interesting. Explore that one. Or do I want to inhale to the middle? Exhale, pull the navel in as I go to the side. Inhale to the middle. Exhale to the side. Or let's try the last way. Let's inhale as we go off to the side. Exhale, release to the middle. So when you inhale, when you're going off to the side, you're still going to have to keep your lower belly engaged. So your inhale is going to be above the belly button. Inhale to the side. Exhale, release. So in this case, we're using the exhale to release the movement. All right. Well, I'd like to put you through an interesting practice, which is actually called a mudra practice. And a mudra practice is a really neat way to connect hand positions with breath and to direct the breath a certain place by doing a hand position. So I'm going to go with, let's see. I'm going to go with a simple one. I like to go with simple when we're starting. Okay. So this is a really calming mudra and a calming breath practice we're going to do with it. This is called the Adi Mudra, which is the gesture of stillness. And so we can use breath to really get still. So I want you to tuck your thumbs in your palm. I'm going to come closer to the camera so you can see this. Tuck your thumbs into the palms like that. And you're just holding your hands in fists, okay? And then, so it's soft fists, but then you can rest your hands on your thighs or your knees with your palms facing down. So it's going to look like this, okay? Draw your shoulders back, have your spine naturally aligned, and if you feel safe to do so, go ahead and close your eyes. So Adi means primordial and refers to the stillness of our essential being. The Adi Mudra is one of the most calming of all gestures. The experience of calm and relaxation facilitated by this gesture can be so profound that it feels as if we're entering a state of hibernation in which the breath becomes almost completely still. This deep relaxation allows for the restoration of all your bodily systems, especially your nervous system and your senses. As your physical body is relaxed and restored, the mind naturally becomes calm and serene, making this gesture especially helpful for anxiety. As you hold the Adi Mudra, take several natural breaths to attune to all the feelings and sensations evoked by the gesture. Notice how your breath is gently directed downward toward the base of your body, instilling a sense of stability and grounding. Take some time to sense the natural pause at the end of each exhaling breath, cultivating a space of silence in which your body and mind can deeply rest. For your next few breaths, attune to these pauses even more deeply, experiencing a sense of serenity that allows you to become completely still, like a statue, softly breathing. As stillness encompasses each area of your body, you experience the absolute peace and harmony that is a reflection of your true being. Begin by taking several breaths to allow stillness to permeate your pelvis, your legs, and feet, creating a firm foundation for your statue of serenity. Now allow your abdomen, solar plexus, low and mid back to enter into stillness and completely relax. With your lower body still and serene, take several breaths to sense your heart, lungs, chest, and upper back merging with your statue of serenity. Serenity now fills your shoulders, arms, and hands, all the way to your fingertips, integrating these areas into your statue of stillness. Finally, stillness permeates your neck and head, inviting all of your senses to naturally turn inward and gently rest. Take some time to sense your entire being as a statue of stillness, softly breathing. Affirm your essential stillness, repeating the following 3 times, aloud or silently. In absolute stillness of being, I experience complete peace and serenity. In absolute stillness of being, I experience complete peace and serenity. In absolute stillness of being, I experience complete peace and serenity. Slowly release the gesture. Take several breaths to rest in absolute stillness. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes, returning slowly and gently, and come onto your back just for your final Shavasana. I'll ring the beautiful bell, give you a moment or two just to rest, deciding which breath you'd like to do, and then I'll ring it again. So begin to wiggle fingers and toes, and you might need to do a little bit of shifting or raise a shoulder up or turn a head. You might just take your time as you're emerging from this lovely stillness. And then come back to a seated position one last time, sitting up straight and tall, and gather whatever you needed from this class and whatever spoke to you. Draw your hands to the heart, wishing you lots of healthy breathing today as you go through your day. And we say namaste.